My garden is currently a building site. It is full of piles of broken bricks and smashed concrete and heaps of thorns and thistles. There are frayed brushes and rusty wheelbarrows lying around, and a semi-deflated football or two gathering dust. The odd bulb has tried to push its way through the debris, only to be trampled on by men in steel cap boots, doing their best to restore order, but seemingly making a whole load more mess in the process. My children are desperate to go outside and play, but I'm afraid. The garden should be a place of solace, but instead all I can see is an accident waiting to happen. I see the holes they could fall in, the hazards they could trip over, the limbs they could break. I seem to spend rather a lot of my time feeling frightened for the people in my life I care for and care about. All other fears in life pale into insignificance in comparison. If my fear of snakes and needles and long boring meetings and changing light bulbs and missing my train were all bundled together, they would still come nowhere near how afraid I feel for my loved ones much of the time. I can feel my anxieties rising whenever my children get hurt, get sick, struggle with their mental health, fall out with their friends, don't get the job they wanted, prang the car, fail an exam, get bullied on social media, and all the other countless pitfalls that seem to come against them one by one like an army of ruthless soldiers on the offence. I look at my treacherous garden and I know I have no choice. I have to do everything I can to make it a safe place for my children, to restore it to a place of peace and beauty. In the Easter story, just after the Last Supper, Jesus went to a garden and feels afraid. In Gethsemane, he tells us he's overwhelmed to the point of death. He is so frightened that he sweats blood. That is fear that goes way beyond any fear I have ever felt. Jesus had every reason to be that fearful. He knew he was about to face a brutal, prolonged, public form of torture. He understood the physical, emotional, spiritual torment that he would endure as he was nailed to a cross and left to die. He felt for the grief that his mother and his friends were about to experience. He grasped the enormity of facing God's punishment, not for the things he had done wrong, but for the things the world had done wrong. Why did Jesus put himself through this? He was powerful enough to resist. He could have walked away in a moment, chosen to destroy the soldiers that would execute him. He could have overthrown the entire Roman Empire in the blink of an eye. Yet in that garden, Jesus' fears for his own safety, enormous though that was surpassed by two things. Firstly, it was surpassed by his trust in God. My Father, Jesus prayed, if it is possible, may this cup of suffering be taken from me. Yet, not as I will, but as you will. Secondly, it was surpassed by Jesus' love for each of us. He saw the brokenness all around him, the hazards and struggles and pitfalls facing us, and he was determined to do everything in his power to defeat fear in our lives and restore the world to a place of peace and beauty. When we look at the world around us and see the debris of disaster, the rubble of ruin, the waste of war and the destruction of disease, then we can follow in Jesus' example and rely on his help. We can face our own fears and reach out with love and compassion to all. If you have been challenged to take your hospitality to the next level this Easter, perhaps look at our website, sanctuaryfoundation.org.uk, to find out how you can be involved in welcoming and supporting refugees into your homes and communities.